How effective are Obama's policies in the Middle East?
How effective are Obama's policies in the Middle East? We'll start with Iain this time.
I think it remains to be seen. You know, we've had 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of conflict there. I don't claim to be a great foreign policy expert. I think as soon as we get down to a workable two-state solution, then we're going to be much the better off. I did notice this week that the United Nations is going to, lost track of what I'm saying now.
United Nations?
The United Nations, countries like Britain have not supporting Israel at the United Nations. I think it's a very, very difficult situation, and I think ultimately the will's only going to be there when the Israelis and the Palestinians actually are able to come to some sort of compromise, whether Obama or whoever else comes in. Okay,
so it's not really necessarily the person, it's just a case of who's there and when, and it's all down to circumstance.
I think so. I find it, you know, I have an innate sympathy with a lot of the Israeli people. I think, you know, a lot of people ask questions about what happened 50 years ago, but I think there needs to be a recognition now that Israel is there. Israel is staying put and it's not going anywhere. And, you know, if I was an Israeli with rocket attacks coming over me, I would, you know, I would want to make sure that my country and my friends and family were as safe as well.
Okay. Let's go to Douglas next.
Well, I mean, it depends, first of all, what you mean by the Middle East. We tend to be kind of reductionist in this. We tend to sort of talk of the Middle East as if it's only the issue of Israel-Palestine, effectively a very small issue of suburban planning outside Jerusalem. The wider Middle East has very significant problems, quite enough problems of its own. People talk about the Middle East as if it were just this issue. It's really quite low-level conflict, as if it isn't all of the other issues in the region, not least the issue of Iran sponsoring terror groups and breaking all international obligations in its pursuit of nuclear weaponry. The problem for Mr. Obama is considerable and hasn't been made any easier by the Nobel Prize award. I was in Rome last Friday and I heard the news. I just got off a plane and I have to say I thought I must have got sunstroke when somebody told me about it. I don't think the Nobel Prizes mean very much. Certainly they haven't for peace ever since Yasser Arafat won one, and indeed since Henry Kissinger won one. Nobel Prizes for Literature have meant even less since Dario Fo and Harold Pinter won them. So Barack Obama, by the way,
going to help him.
No, it's going to make life nightmarish for him. I mean, awarding the Nobel Peace Prize to Barack Obama is like giving the Nobel Prize for Literature to a person who has yet to write their first book. He hasn't done anything, but the expectations now are monstrous. Put it this way, the Israel-Palestine issue it's not as complex as some people portray it. It has incredible complexities around it. But the central issue of whether or not you have two negotiating partners come to the table is already pretty much agreed on. It's been thrown in recent years by the election of Hamas, which means in any case, we won't have a two-state solution now. There'll probably be a three-state solution, if any. But this problem that we have now is as follows. Barack Obama has to deliver some kind of peace. He has to deliver peace in part by delivering states. And one of the states he will be obliged to deliver is the state of Gaza, which is being run by the terrorists of Hamas. No American president is going to be able to tolerate a terrorist state like that. And so I'm afraid the Nobel Committee, among others, have just set up Mr. Obama, President Obama, for the most terrible failure. I feel very sorry for him.
Okay, do we have any comments at all from the audience on whether or not anyone agrees with Douglas on that view at all? Raise your hands and come to the front. Comments, please.
I agree with you that the Middle East is not restricted to Israel and Palestine. So I would like to just ask half a question. Will we attack Iran?
That's more than half a question.
Okay, well, that's another show,
That's
actually.
about three.
Hazel, let's go to you for that one. And also, if you just want to comment on that, but also about the original question, which was on Obama's foreign policy, is it working in the Middle East?
Well, I was going to try and answer the question, because politicians get accused of not doing that. And the question was about Barack Obama. I think he is trying to almost walk a tightrope at the moment. And I think that certainly Israel Palestine issues require some of that. In order to get people to the table, he's going to have to say some things that the traditional allies in the Jewish community in America are not going to like very much, and therefore he's going to have to spend a lot of political capital in order to do that. But I think he's quite determined, because he does need to produce some kind of progress. He's made it a priority, unlike the previous president, and I think that Barack Obama is personally far more committed to trying to make something happen out there. I think that, you know, some people, it's not that long since Obama was elected amidst the most wonderful kind of coverage that he was going to change the world, he was going to be this great, fantastic leader, and then within the space of 6 months, somehow he's a failure, he hasn't delivered anything. You know, we don't half like to do our heroes down, and I think that the same thing is happening in terms of the Middle East as happened in relation to some of his healthcare stuff. They said he wouldn't be able to deliver it, but actually there's far more to Barack Obama than at the moment people are giving him credit for, and I think in this difficult, complex, challenging situation of Middle Eastern politics, I think he is trying to craft a very careful route through to get people round a table, because the only way we're going to get a lasting solution is if Israel and Palestine want to get that lasting solution. You are never going to be able to impose it from outside, and therefore it is going to require a very, very careful way through. And at the moment, I think Barack Obama is trying to tread that tightrope, get people to the table, and then we might have a chance of making progress.
Okay, sorry, we just go back to the question of that. And Ling, do you mind just getting up once again, just telling us if you think it's working, so wherever you are?
No. Quite simply, no.
Fair enough. Thank you very much.